Now, energy is the ability to do work. You need energy to do work. You need energy to get work done. Now, when a substance absorbs heat, it is absorbing energy, and therefore the substance is positioned to do work. And the work is cooling off a space, product, or part of a process. Refrigeration is simply the method of removing heat. The basic principle of refrigeration is the transfer of heat from a warm substance to a colder substance. That is in accordance with the second law of thermodynamics. The second law states simply that heat downgrades. Heat flows from a hotter substance to a colder substance, so objects that are chilled do not receive cold, but they lose heat, sensible and latent, until they reach the desired temperature. Example. In other words, instead of putting cold into a refrigerator for cooling, heat is taken out. The more heat removed, the colder the inside of the refrigerator becomes. As the heat is removed, the temperature drops. Low temperature indicates low heat content. Cold is nothing more than the absence of heat, and refrigeration is just simply a method of removing heat. In understanding refrigeration is simply the removal of heat, it is important to understand that heat is a form of energy. Every object contains heat and heat energy. If all heat is removed from an object, the temperature of the object falls to absolute zero. This is theoretically -459 Fahrenheit. Every object contains heat energy in both quantity and intensity. Refrigeration is the process of cooling a space, substance, or system to lower and/or maintain its temperature below the ambient one. In other words, refrigeration means artificial cooling. Question. What is heat and heat transfer? Answer. Heat is a form of energy. There are other forms of energy such as light, mechanical, electrical, and chemical. Energy is the ability to do work. For anything or anyone to perform tasks, either physically or mentally, they must first possess the energy to do so. Energy in a state or form, in addition to being chemical or electrical, is either at rest, potential, or active, kinetic. When energy is doing work, it is said to be kinetic or in motion. When an object is at rest or not moving, it is said to have potential. It is the manipulation or transferring from potential to kinetic that gets work done. Question. What are the forms of heat? Answer. Sensible and latent. Sensible. The temperature that can be measured on or with a thermometer. Superheat. The temperature that is above the saturation point. It is the heat that added above the saturation point of a substance. Superheat can be measured with a thermometer. If heat is added after a liquid changes into a vapor, it is called superheat. And remember, heat is a form of energy. So if more heat is added to the substance, that substance now is subcooling heat. The temperature that is below the saturation point. It is the heat removed below the saturation point of a substance. This heat removal can be measured on or with a thermometer. Latent heat. Latent heat is the amount of heat needed to change the state of a substance. Question. What are the forms of latent? Answer. Evaporation, sublimation, condensation, fusion. Question. What is evaporation? Answer. Amount of heat needed to change the state of a liquid to a vapor. Question. What is sublimation? Answer. Amount of heat needed to go from a solid to gas. Answer. Amount of heat needed to go from a solid to a gas. Question. What is condensation? Answer. Amount of heat removed to change a substance from a vapor to a liquid. Question. What is fusion? Answer. Amount of heat needed to change a liquid to a solid. Question.